Hey gang, what I'm going to talk to you about today is goals and goal setting, and as usual this is just going to be my opinion. It's not right, wrong or anything else, it's just my opinion to try and help you. Goal setting for me is very, very important in life and sport. It's also how you set those goals for me. So I've always set three goals. I've had short-term, long-term and almost unobtainable, something I want to chase, and I want to chase it constantly. It might always stay just out of reach, but that's what keeps me driving forward. So for instance, a short-term goal for me would be a 94% average at the end of the season. So that's a weekly goal. I've got to obtain that. More of a long-term goal for the season, a one-off thing would be say top 10 at a world championship, something like that. And then the unobtainable one is the world championship, because it's there. I've done it many times, but that's the one that I'm going to chase. That's the reason I keep doing it. So dependent on your classification, it could be your three goals could be very different. So for instance, if you're in C class, you might have a short-term goal of a PB. That's a short-term goal. We're going to try and hit a PB within the next 3 months. Long-term goal would be to move classification, and then we might have a chasing that goal of a county badge. So we've got a short-term and long-term and that unobtainable, which is there. We're going to get there, and then we'll reassess the goals as we move up the classification. So for me, the most important goal is the unobtainable one, the lifetime goal, because that's the reason that you're going to stay interested. Just for a little bit more advice on that, so let's just say I was in A class, I might be chasing an 88% average at the end of the season, so that keeps me going week by week. A short-term goal might be the county badge, or you want to finish the England selection shoots within a certain amount of points, or maybe make the England team. And then you start to look at a class win at a world championship as your unobtainable goal to keep you moving forward. Now, I deal with these all the time. I check my goal is month by month, and my short-term goal would be, around 3 month period, I want to be obtaining that goal. My long-term goal would be seasonal, and like I say, the unobtainable one is one that you just might catch, but it could just stay out of your reach, and that's why you keep returning. Don't set goals that you can't achieve, because then you look back and you think it's been a failure of a season. So don't go setting goals that you're not going to be able to achieve, and also don't set goals that you can achieve with ease. Neither one are counterproductive to your mindset. That's why I've always believed in the 3 goal rule. So you've got my short-term, long-term and unobtainable. So that's how I set out and plan my season. Now, my training regime would focus more probably around the long-term goal, so or the unobtainable one. So you see a lot of shooters now winning their classifications when we can shoot, and you see it on Facebook that they're winning here and they're winning there, and there's nothing to win. There's nothing to win in March and April apart from the Essex Masters. There's no point being the best shot yet. It's like peaking for a horse race. You want to be peaking at a certain time. You don't want to be. You're not going to hold your form all season. Let's forget that. That's never going to happen. Nobody's ever done that. Nobody ever will. It's too long of a span. So you've got to pick those goals out and then set your training regime around obtaining those goals. So every other year, we've got 1 year the World Championships April, the next year it's usually around June, July, and every year there's one in July. So that's my peaks. I've got to be ready in April for the one that's in America. I've got to be ready for the FITAS one in July, and I've got to be ready for every other year for the other one that's in England. So every year your training regime is changing to allow for the times when your shoots are taking place. So if your goal is to make the county team, you've got to hit peak form at county selection shoot. So that means if you're having lessons, you don't really want to be changing things with your coach the week before. Your coach should be making what you do already tighter. you know, gaining 1%. You don't want to be making huge changes to your mindset or your technique before one of these events. That wants to be done weeks out, so you've mastered it before these shoots come round. So if you are going to take lessons from your coach, make sure they're assessed around your goal, so he doesn't plan a lesson for you and then the week after you've got a selection match and you're not mastered what he's taught you. So everything's about setting stages and planning around that. So tomorrow's video, I'm going to go over a calendar year for me and where I would train and practice. So the week before an event, you're practicing, you're not training, you're not making any adjustments to how you shoot. You might make them 3 weeks prior, but nothing sooner than that. Then you start to hit practice, and then I peak. I do a lot of practice, and then I tail it back down for the event. But that's more tomorrow. So hopefully that will give you something to do over this lockdown period, is actually sit down and write some of your goals down. If you get bored, send them over to me on a social media platform, and I'll have a look at them for you, tell you what I think of them. And then, you know, my next question would be to you is how are you going to obtain them? How are we going to make sure the short-term goal can happen, the long-term goal is realistic, and how close can we get to that lifetime goal? So that's my advice today on how to set out your season. I hope you enjoy that. Stay safe, and we'll see you live tonight.